It's 2 a.m. You're revising a brief that was already excellent at 5 p.m. And here's the uncomfortable truth. You're not making it any better. All you're doing is managing your anxiety. I've practiced law for 46 years, and I can tell you this. That perfectionism that built your career, it's now destroying your life. Here's what nobody tells successful attorneys. The very trait that got you to the top, that got you to where you are today, is now the biggest obstacle to your freedom, the biggest obstacle to your joy, and ironically, the biggest obstacle to your best performance. In the next 15 minutes, I'm going to show you exactly how to transform from a perfectionist attorney consumed by anxiety into a powerful practitioner who operates from confidence instead of from fear. If you've ever finished a winning case and immediately started worrying about the next one, if you ever stayed much too late revising something that was already good enough, if your success on the outside does not match your peace on the inside, then this video is for you. Welcome to the Free Lawyer Podcast. I'm your host, Gary Miles. I've been exactly where you are, and I found the way out. Before we dive in, let me tell you why I'm qualified to have this conversation with you. I practiced law for 46 years. I was managing partner of my firm for more than 3 decades. I won 12 federal court cases in a row representing trucking companies, and despite all that success, I still doubted myself. I still revised documents obsessively. I still prepared as if every single case was my first. I was still scared. Those external winds never silenced my internal critic. What finally set me free was not working harder or preparing more. It was understanding the difference between perfectionism and excellence, and making a fundamental shift in where my confidence came from. Today, through the Free Lawyer Framework, I help elite attorneys, managing partners, senior litigators, successful practitioners earning $300,000 and above, transform their relationship with perfectionism so that they can practice law with purpose and live their lives with freedom. One of my clients, an equity partner in a major firm, told me, "Gary, I've spent 20 years proving myself. And you showed me I had already proven it. I just needed to start believing in my own evidence." That transformation is available to you. Let's talk about exactly how this works. Perfectionism built your career. And here's where we need to start by honoring what got you here. Your perfectionism was not a character flaw. It was a survival strategy that actually worked. For me, it started early. I was an overweight kid with thick glasses. I was brilliant academically, but an easy target for bullying. So I became a perfectionism. Every A+ was armor against criticism. Every perfect score was proof of my worth. Does that sound familiar to you? Maybe your perfectionism came from different circumstances: demanding parents, competitive classmates, early professional experiences. But the pattern is the same. When you enter legal practice, that perfectionism became your competitive advantage. That federal court clerkship, meticulous attention to detail earned it. That partnership, consistently exceeding expectations. That reputation, built on never, ever dropping the ball. Here's what happened. Every time your perfectionism produced results, it reinforced itself. That seeing your partner praised your thorough brief, that validated those 3 extra hours of unnecessary review and revisions you made. The judge highly complimented your preparation. That justified your staying up until midnight. Your client recommends you because of your incredible attention to detail. That locked in the belief that perfectionism equals professional value. See, you weren't just succeeding, you were teaching your brain that suffering produces success. And here's the critical insight that most attorneys miss. There's a transformation point when your perfectionism shifts from an asset to a liability. It usually happens after you have established your reputation, after you have built your practice and proven your competence. For me, it came after winning those 12 cases in a row. Despite that streak, I still doubted my abilities. That external success never, ever silenced my internal critic. And that's when I knew something fundamental had to change. This is a distinction that changed everything for me, and I hope it might change everything for you. Excellence stems from competence. Excellence stems from being confident in yourself, in your actions, in your preparation. Perfectionism, though, stems from fear. Excellence stems from competence. Perfectionism stems from fear. They look similar on the surface, don't they? Both involve high standards and quality work, but they affect you in entirely different ways. They come from entirely different places, and they produce radically different results. Let me show you what I mean. Excellence asks, is this good enough to serve my client effectively? But perfectionism asks you, what if someone finds fault with this? That subtle shift in questions changes everything about how you practice law. Here's what perfectionism is actually about, and this took me too many years to understand. Perfectionism isn't really about the quality of your work. It's about safety. It's your adult's brain attempt to control outcomes that are fundamentally uncertain. Let me repeat that. It is your brain's attempt to control outcomes that are uncertain. It's all about keeping you safe. See, you cannot control whether the judge agrees with your argument, can you? But you can revise your brief 3 more times. You can't control whether the jury finds your witness credible, but you can prepare 17 additional questions for direct examination. Do you see the pattern? Perfectionism is anxiety management, described as work ethic. It looks like work ethic, but it really is an effort to manage your anxiety. Now let's talk about the energy difference. When you operate from excellence, you work hard, you prepare thoroughly, and then you release the outcome. Your energy stays relatively steady because you're not constantly burning fuel on anxiety. But when you operate from perfectionism, you're always on. You're continuously monitoring and questioning. And by the end of the day, you're mentally drained. Not from doing the work, but from the internal battle about whether your work is good enough. See, this is the key. Perfectionism drains you, but excellence sustains you. And here's something that really might surprise you. It surprised many people when I tell them this. The more successful you become, the stronger your perfectionism often gets. I've coached managing partners earning $500,000 who still feel like frauds waiting to be exposed. Senior litigators with 20 years of victories who panic before every court appearance. Why? Because the stakes keep rising with their continued success. You tell yourself, I can't afford any mistakes at this level, which sounds reasonable, doesn't it? But it actually undermines your performance by replacing confidence with constant second guessing. Now, if what I'm sharing resonates with you, if you recognize yourself in these patterns, I want you to know there's a clear path forward. I offer complimentary coaching calls where we can discuss your specific situation and explore whether the free lawyer framework is right for you. No pressure, no sales pitch, just a conversation between 2 attorneys about what is possible. The link is in the description below, and if you find value in my content, hit that subscribe button. I release new episodes twice a week on the Free Lawyer Podcast, and I don't want you to miss what's coming. Now let me show you exactly how to make this transformation. Here's the practical framework for transforming from perfectionist to powerful. And this isn't theory, it's what I've developed over 4 decades and refined through coaching so many attorneys. Step one is recognition without judgment. Recognition without judgment. The first step is not fighting your perfectionism, it's understanding it, it's recognizing it. Start noticing your triggers without condemning yourself. Does opposing counsel's reputation activate your preparation anxiety? Do certain judges trigger extra document reviews? Does client communication create compulsive response patterns? Recognition creates a space between stimulus and response where your choice of how to respond becomes possible. Step two, build your competence inventory. And I often call it a wins journal. Create what I call your case file of successes. Documented evidence that contradicts the perfectionist narrative that you're not good enough. After each win, each achievement, a motion granted, a compliment received, a nice email from a client, a case won, a judge who affirmed how well you did, document it specifically in a journal or on your computer. Keep a list of them. And when self-doubt arises, review that evidence. Say, your perfectionist voice argues from a feeling of inadequacy, a feeling of fear. But your competence inventory argues from fact. And as attorneys, we're trained to evaluate evidence objectively, except, it seems, when it comes to ourselves. Step three, strategic standards setting. Different types of our work require different levels of precision. A Supreme Court brief justifies extraordinary attention to detail. A routine discovery response doesn't. So create clear standards for different work categories. High stakes matters that require maximum effort. Standard matters that demand professional competence. And routine matters that require efficiency. This is not about lowering your standards. It's about applying them strategically rather than treating everything as life or death. And step four, detaching yourself from the outcome. This was the most powerful shift in my 4 decades of practice. I don't know how often I obsessed about the results of a jury trial that I would have coming up in a couple months, worrying about whether I was going to win or lose, or most often, worrying about what that loss would mean when I did lose. And I had a case where I worked exhaustively on an opposition to summary judgment. Hours and hours. To my way of thinking, it really wasn't even a summary judgment matter because there were so many issues about intent. I lost that motion. I was shocked. My client's case was completely thrown out of court. The employer got summary judgment. I spent weeks obsessing. What did I do wrong? What could I have done differently? And years later, I learned that that same judge had granted summary judgment to every employer in every employment case that he had ever had. And I learned from that to focus on my preparation, focus on the process, focus on what I enjoy doing, preparing my opening, organizing my witness exams, but release the attachment to the results because we have no power over them. We can't control them. You cannot control the outcomes. All you can control is the quality of your research, the clarity of your arguments, the dedication to your clients, and the professionalism of your presentation. When you trust your expertise while releasing control over external validation, you paradoxically perform better when you stop worrying about the outcomes because anxiety is not consuming your mental resources. And step five is redirecting your energy. Perfectionistic energy is tremendous. But the problem is, it's just misdirected toward internal suffering instead of external impact. The goal is not to eliminate your drive for excellence. It's to redirect it from fear-based achievement to confidence-based performance. So channel that intensity into strategic thinking about your cases. Use that intensity to fuel your professional development that really enhances your skills and to become obsessed with client service that comes from a place of abundance rather than anxiety. So, what are some steps that we can use to practically implement these three, this goal of moving from perfectionism into excellence? Excuse me. Let me give you three specific practices you can implement immediately. The first is our morning intention setting. Start each day by setting an intention focused on competence rather than perfection. Instead of saying, I need to be flawless today, or I hope I'm perfect today, or I hope I don't make any mistakes, say to yourself, I'm thoroughly prepared. I'm capable of handling unexpected challenges. I'm focused on serving my clients' interests. One managing partner I coached saw a great transformation in his core performance simply from setting time in the morning to set his intentions on being competent and excellent rather than perfect. See, your brain performs differently when it's operating from I am capable versus I must be perfect. Practice 2, the client service excellence test. When you're tempted to revise something one more time, ask yourself this question, and this is important. Is this extra effort serving my client, or is it soothing my anxiety? Am I serving my client by looking at this brief one more time, or am I just trying to take care of my fear of making a mistake? If the revision genuinely improves your client's position, it's worth doing. If it's making you feel safer about potential criticism, it's perfectionism disguised as thoroughness. See, that question cuts through any rationalization and reconnects you with your true professional purpose. Practice 3, document completion protocol. Establish clear completion criteria for different types of documents. For standard brief, define done as legally sound arguments, clear writing, proper citations, one thorough proofread, and one more final pass. When those criteria are met at 5 p.m., your brief is finished, even if you could theoretically improve it with 3 more hours of work. For high stakes matters, your criteria will be more rigorous. But they should still have defined endpoints based on professional judgment rather than anxiety relief. I help my clients set a specific amount of time they're going to spend reviewing a document, so it doesn't go on through 8, 9, and 10 proofreads. See, done is a decision, not a feeling. So set a time frame and a framework for when the documents you prepare are completed. So let me wrap this all up for you. That trait that made you so successful, your relentless perfectionism, is now the barrier to your fulfillment. You've achieved all the external markers of success: reputation, income, respect. But that internal experience does not match, because perfectionism creates a moving target where nothing is ever quite good enough. You may look great on the outside, but inside, you're doing terribly. And here's what I want you to remember. These key takeaways. First, your perfectionism got you here, but trust me, it won't get you to where you want to go. Honor what it built, but then evolve beyond it. Second, excellence stems from competence. Perfectionism stems from fear. They look similar, but they produce radically different results. 3, the shift from perfectionism to excellence is not about lowering your standards. It's about raising your self-trust to match your already demonstrated competence. And finally, you've already proven yourself hundreds of times. The evidence exists. Start believing it. After 46 years of practicing law, including decades sadly trapped by my own perfectionism, I've learned this truth. Sustainable excellence requires transforming from fear-based achievement to confidence-based performance. Trust me, you did not work this hard to spend your career anxious, exhausted, and unable to enjoy your own accomplishments. The most successful attorneys aren't perfect. They're prepared, they're skilled, and most importantly, they're unattached to outcomes beyond their control. They practice from authentic power rather than compensatory drive. And that transformation is available to you right now, today. If you're ready to transform your relationship with perfectionism and to reclaim your practice, I would love to connect with you. Schedule a complimentary coaching call at GaryMiles.net. We will talk about your specific situation and explore what's possible when you operate from internal authority instead of external validation. If this video served you, do me a favor, hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and drop a comment below telling me what's one area where perfectionism is costing you more than it's giving you. What's that area of your practice where your perfectionism is costing you more than it's giving you? I read every comment, and your answer might inspire a future episode. I'm Gary Miles, and remember, practice law with purpose, live your life with freedom. I'll see you in the next episode.